Listening to The Sports Nuts.
And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner Show. My name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of Sports Corner. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Let me talk to you. And let me talk to you. And what do you want to talk about? Because I can guarantee I know what everyone wants to talk about today. Now, this afternoon, at 5 o'clock, we were going to do Wrestle Talk. We have canceled that tonight. We're going into a 90-minute show today. We're going to be here till 5:30 to dissect the stepping down of Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. All right? Big news today. Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, has stepped down as the head coach of the Steelers. Today, coming up shortly here, I have Mike SISCAK from Amped Up Sports. He's going to help us dissect this coming up at 4:30. We're going to try to get him on based on if Art Rooney II has a press conference coming up. We're not sure if we can get him on. Ray FIDEPALDO from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We were going to have Ray just come on just to talk about the game last night, and now we have this Mike Tomlin thing going on. And also Mike SISCAK's going to add a little bit about the Ravens search for a new head coach, the Commanders, what happened to them this year. Other NFL news, offensive coordinator Greg Roman from the Chargers fired today, and the offensive coordinator for the Philly Eagles fired today as well. So a lot of firings, a lot of news in the NFL, as always, as the wild card weekend has gone bye-byes, and now we're going into the divisional round, and it's going to be a very interesting scenario here, because the Steelers are not in it, and Mike Tomlin stepped down. All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today for all your heating heating needs, and also for UV lighting and snow melt as well. Call Mata. You ought to call Mata, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland, 410-596-1681. Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland. Give Mike a call today for your short-term rentals, and also if you want to rent or if you want to buy real estate in Ocean City, Mike is the man. Call him today, 410-596-1681. Also, we're sponsored by Highway Radio Hits. Don't forget to join them for some great music, highwayradiohits.com, and also join me on Thursdays, 1 to 3 p.m. for some great music as I do my DJ Fun music show, 1 to 3 every Thursday on Highway Radio Hits. Also, a North American Millwright Construction and Contracting. Call them today. That number, they do some great contracting work. They worked on my home. 410 area code 388-9870. They service West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. So give them a call today. North American Millwright. Some great construction contracting work. They're fair. They've been around a long time, and they don't play no games. North American Millwright Construction and Contracting. 410-388-9870. They're the sponsor of Mike SISCAK today. All right, my co-host by phone here, Smokin Jim Frazier. Smokin Jim, what a big day it is today. How are you, and how's everything with you today?
Everything's great, man. Thanks for asking, Ralph. Should be a great show.
Yeah, it should be, man. This really shocked the heck out of all of us today. Those of you who don't know and you've been hiding under a rock or playing Xbox or something and don't follow news or whatever, I'm sure Pittsburgh is up in arms. Those of you who wanted Mike Tomlin gone, you got him. He just stepped down today, and it's interesting situation there as well. All right. Okay. Blaze Smith saying about Brandon Keeler to the Sports Nuts. Hello to Blaze, and also I want to send a shout out to Brandon Keeler of the Sports Nuts as well for letting us put this program on the air. I want to let you know we are simulcasted on the following radio stations nationwide: 95.5 KFCE, Terrell, Texas. We're also in the on the Tiger Nation.com radio network in Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. 93.3 KJR in Seattle, and we're also on the Hawaii Sports Network. Aloha to all our friends in Hawaii. Tuning in on the Hawaii Sports Network, 107.5 The Ticket in Montgomery, Alabama. And we're also on, I can't even read my own handwriting here sometimes. Oh, well, what doesn't matter. 105.5 the in Easley, South Carolina. We're picking them up as well on WGR in Buffalo, New York. I want to thank 550 AM as well. And also AM 610 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So all those are our radio outlets. We're also on YouTube, Facebook. We're on the Twitter X platform, and we're on all of the Sports Nuts platforms as well. All right, we got plenty to talk about today, plenty of the comments section. All right, but first, let me get my our guest up here today, Mike SISCAK from Amped Up Sports. Mike covers the Ravens, the Commanders, and the Pittsburgh Steelers for Amped Up Sports. Mike, welcome to the program. How are you? And thanks for being on the show.
Hey, Ralph. Hi. Hey, Smokin Jim. How y'all doing?
Good. We're doing good today. Smokin Jim, say hello to Mike.
My man, Mike, good to have you on, buddy.
Good to talk to you as always, sir.
All right. Thank you, Hula, for someone says hello. Thank you from Hawaii. All right. Thank you. All the comments here. Thank you very much. And hello to everyone out there that's tuning in today. Big day today. Big day in the NFL. We're going to get to that in a few seconds. So let me get these comments through here. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all your comments. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can today. And probably maybe coming up later on, I sent some invites out. I sent some feelers out. Got a few people that may be coming on later on to talk about this situation. All right, let me get into my rant real quick here. And my rant is not even hard today. I saw it coming, but not now. I'm wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. I said Mike Tomlin was going to step down after his contract ran out next year. That was his 20th year in the league. All right. He stepped down today. I'm wrong. I admit I was wrong. But there is one thing that I did say, that the Steelers will never get to a Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin. So I was right on that one. So I'm 1-1. And that's my rant for today. I'm 1-1. And I want to let everyone know that as well. Smokin Jim's wisdom. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I tell you what, man, I'm going to bypass on my rant today because I'm interested to hear what you and our guests have to say about the situation with Coach Tomlin.
All right. Well, I want to say this, and I'm going to say this real quick here before we get to Mike. I kind of thought something was up last night when the media was pushing Mike Tomlin about his future in his post-game press conference. Okay? And Mike Tomlin didn't have a lot to say. He kind of brushed things off, and he said he was worried about what happened with this game and whatnot. And he was not ideal with the media here in Pittsburgh. He intimidated them, and avoided everything, tough questions a lot of times. And a lot of coaches do that. But Mike Tomlin, I wish you well. That's all I have to say. I hope that whatever other venture you get into, I hope you do well. But your 19 seasons and nine years with no playoff victories is a little bit much for the Steeler fans to handle. And I know last night they were yelling, "Fire Tomlin." It's been going around for weeks now. And now there's my opinion on Mike Tomlin. He is gone. We got our wish, Steeler fans. Mike Tomlin's gone. All right. And it's time for new blood. It's time for a new coach. It's time for a new concept. It's time for no 9-8 standards to standard. It's time. It's time for a change in the regime of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike SISCAK, how are you, Mike? Go ahead with your comments and thoughts on this Mike Tomlin stepping down. Go ahead.
Well, the last time that Mike Tomlin wasn't the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, PlayStation was only on number 3. Twitter wasn't a thing yet. Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. It's back to a planet now. And Saddam Hussein was still alive. So it has been a long time since we've seen the Steelers without Mike Tomlin. And I understand that there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh who have become jaded with the perpetual 9-8, this playoff failures over the course of the last 9 years. But it's going to be real interesting to see what happens now, because sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And I know a lot of fan bases, namely one here in the DC area where I live, and one that wears green on the other half of New York City, that would love to have the problem of perpetually being 9-8, making it to the playoffs and only winning one Super Bowl in 19 years. So I really want to see now where the Steelers take this. And let's not forget, the second longest tenured coach in the NFL behind Mike Tomlin, Jim Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yeah.
John Harbaugh, my
Right.
mistake.
That's all right.
Was also let go. So that means that once again, Andy Reid is the dean of all NFL coaches.
Yeah, he is, Mike. And I brought you on today to actually talk about the Ravens and their head coaching thing with John Harbaugh gone and whatnot, what's going on with that, what the search is going on. But now we have to focus on this today, which, of course, is not a bad thing. We can still talk about the Ravens today as well. And if you didn't hear what I said earlier, offensive coordinator Greg Roman fired from the LA Chargers today. And the Eagles, the Philly Eagles, fired their offensive coordinator as well today as well. Thank you from Steve on the south side of Pittsburgh. Thank you, Steve. And Pensman, as always, my monitor, he said we need to retool now. Yes, we do, Pensman. We need to retool. We need to rethink. And we need to get things going back, get the Steelers back where they need to be. Smokin, Jim Frazier, what's your thoughts on this Mike Tomlin stepping down?
I really don't have any comment to really add. I mean, you guys have pretty much summed up the feelings of the community here in Pittsburgh and outside the community in the D.C. Baltimore area.
Yeah, everybody pretty much is in a state of shock, myself included. I didn't expect this today. I thought Mike Tomlin, my prediction was, and again, I was wrong. I said he was going to go do one more year, do his 20 years, and be gone. But guess what? He stepped down today. Thanks, Mike, for making me wrong, Mike Tomlin. I want to appreciate you for that. I also want to thank Mike Tomlin for his commitment to the community. He lived in the city of Pittsburgh. First ever head coach of any professional team in Pittsburgh to live in the city. So I want to thank him for that. Many times that I passed his home on Shady Avenue in Pittsburgh. And question is now, guys, and I have a question for both of you, and we'll start with you, Mike, since you're our guest today. What do you think Mike Tomlin's going to do? Do you think he's going to sit home and retire? You think he's going to get a broadcasting job? I'm hearing he's already been offered a job since the stepping down. I heard Fox is offering him a job because Jimmy Johnson stepped away, and they need a coach. They need somebody. Matt Ryan is now going to be the new general manager of the or the player operations, whatever, with the Atlanta Falcons. So he's needed, in the broadcast booth or in the broadcasting area. Do you think Mikey goes there, or he stays home and does a Sean Payton, or what do you think he's going to do?
I don't think that he is going to retire. He's 53 years old. His children are pretty much all grown. They're all in their 20s now. So I can't see him retiring and saying, this is it for me. I'm going to ride off into the sunset. I don't know if he's going to coach another NFL team. This is something that we've never seen. No coach of the Steelers has gone on and coached another NFL team. Noel, when he retired, was retired. Bill Cowher retired because his wife was sick and never came back.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin.
Well, there's another reason for that too, Mike, and I'll tell you in a few minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he never came back. He never did it again.
Right.
I can tell you right now, I guess the answer to your question is Mike's going to do whatever he wants to. He had every door except maybe 4 are open. I can think of 30 NFL franchises that would be happy to have him as a head coach. He's not going to go back to the Steelers, and he probably could never coach the Ravens. I can only think of 2 off the top of my head college teams that probably wouldn't want him. Georgia with Kirby Smart, I think they're pretty set. And LSU just having hired Lane Kiffin, I don't think they would go after him. But I think, any job right now that he decided that he wanted, be it broadcast, be it coaching at the professional level, be it coaching at the collegiate level, I think that he could walk in and do it. So I think in the short term, I think he goes home. He reflects for a little bit and then decides what his next move is going to be. I think the fact that we're all surprised tells us a lot about the nature of this decision, that he wanted to leave on his own terms. He wanted to leave when he was going to leave rather than be pushed out. And so it's better to be in the job so long that you don't see yourself become the villain. And he got out just before that happened. So he'll be remembered pretty fondly in Steelerland. Steeler franchise tied with Noel for the record for wins with 193. He's got the Super Bowl victory. He's got those 19 straight years with no losing seasons. So his legacy is pretty solid, and he can go on now and do whatever it is that he decides that he wants to do.
All right, comment section wide open. Pensman said, I appreciate the fight. That's the AFC North, he said, but it says here is the injuries and question marks and everything else, and there you are. So, all right. But anyway, the AFC North is a dumpster fire right now. We have 3 teams with no coaches out of the 4. Since he decided to keep Zach Taylor, they were going to fire him. I heard the story that he was told to get rid of his coordinators in order for him to stay. So I believe he got rid of his coordinators, or at least is going to. All right, Cleveland dumped Kevin Stefanski. The Ravens dumped John Harbaugh after they lost to the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin stepped down. All right, so the AFC North right now is a dumpster fire as far as coaches go and what needs to be done. Smokin, Jim, you have any comment? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin and I used to be friends.
Yeah, I know.
And Mike Tomlin told me on several different occasions that he would never do television.
Okay.
It surprised me the first time he said it, but to my knowledge, Mike Tomlin's never lied to me. So I would be very surprised if Mike got into TV, because even though television and broadcasting looks like he would be tailor-made for that. Like Mike said, he's only 53 years old. there's opportunities out there, maybe to be the general manager and the head coach. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, if Mike does go somewhere next season, will be compensated somewhat for it because Tomlin's still under contract for another year. But yeah, so again, he told me, even though there's TV opportunities out there, he told me on several different occasions he would never do TV.
All right. Our guest today is
The
Mike.
only thing,
Go ahead, Mike.
hey, Jim, Smoking Jim, the only thing I want to say to that is, and I don't think that he lied to you, but there's a lot of things that I said that I would never do when I was in my 30s, that now that I'm in my 40s,
Yeah, exactly.
things have changed.
Exactly. Yeah, there's some things I've done too that
And
I said I
I'm
wasn't
not
going to do either.
saying that I was lying at the time. I wholeheartedly believed what I said at the time. But there's a lot of things that I said I would never do when I was in my 20s and 30s that as I have gotten older, my tune has changed a lot on. And that's why I'm just because he said just because he said at some point that he would never do television. Back then, I'm pretty sure I believed that he was saying what he was saying, but I know that once Fox writes that check, or once NBC or Amazon or Netflix comes up to the door with that check, and he sees all those zeros on it and knows that he only has to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it might be a little bit hard to say no.
Hey, you know what? Sean Payton came back. There's a few other people, coaches that have retired and came back because the money was right. Unfortunately, Pete Carroll came back. We didn't expect that. And a few other guys that came back. And I use this saying all the time, Mike, and I think you'll agree with me. Rodney Dangerfield said back to school, if the roast beef is right, they'll be back. So if the money's right, they'll be back. So and right now you have teams that are looking for coaches, and this is going to be a smorgasbord of teams ringing his phone looking for him to come their direction. Whether or not he does, I don't know. So
there are 8 openings right now, 6 of whom which he could get. 1, I don't think. So I would say there are 5 legitimate opportunities for him. I know that he's not going back to the Steelers. So 9 with the Steelers. We know he's not going back to the Steelers. I really don't believe that he would coach the Ravens. I just don't see that happening. Just like I don't think that Jim Harbaugh could see his way. John Harbaugh, I keep doing that today. And you know why? It's because Smoking Jim's on the line and I keep getting
Yeah.
John Harbaugh is not going to coach the Steelers, just like Mike Tomlin is not going to coach the the Ravens. And
Right.
I really think that John Harbaugh is more in play for Miami than anything else. I think that if Stephen Ross is going to go up there with the Michigan connections, and he's going to put down a check, and he's just going to write a question mark and a bunch of zeros behind it and tell John, okay, put a number in front of that, and that's what you get. Because I don't believe that if John Harbaugh gets to Miami, I don't think that he leaves that building without the job. So that leaves us with what? The Falcons, the Browns. I could see the
Arizona Cardinals. There's a few Titans. They're still looking for a head coach. I heard today they're interviewing. I heard they're interviewing Brian DeBoe today, the Titans. And now that Arthur Smith is available, I heard that the ownership of the Titans have asked permission already, and the Steelers already gave it to him that he could go interview for that head coaching job. He's got some ties there. The owner loves him. And for what reasons, I don't know. I guess he must be a good chauffeur or something. Because
I don't get it. I think
I don't either.
Got bounced from Atlanta. He came up here. The offense was not that. I don't necessarily see Arthur Smith as the answer to many questions, but there are going to be, with 9 head coaching positions open, there are going to be teams that don't get the guy that they want. So that's in play.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And Mike, I agree with you 100%. Mike SISCAK is with us for a couple more minutes here, and then he has to go. He is from Amped Up Sports, and I'm trying to get working on getting Ray FIDEPALDO on here. Ray was going to come on at 4:30 with us, but he's not sure if he'll be able to make it today because of the situation with Mike Tomlin stepping down. They need his attention down at the Steeler headquarters, and we're going to find out. I'm waiting to hear back from Ray. He may or may not be on today. I don't know right now, but we had originally planned for him to be on. We were going to talk about last night's game. Mike, real quick here, who do you think will be the Ravens head coach? Because I know you cover the Ravens and the Commanders and all that. Who do you think? What do you look at?
That's a good question.
That's a $1 million question, right?
That's $1 million question. Much like I am not going to try and read the tea leaves to see what direction the Steelers are going to go in, except that I expect them to hire a younger coach. I would be surprised if they didn't hire a more offensive-minded coach, even though you're going to have a strong background in defense because the Steelers have a personality. This is a team that plays a specific kind of defense. They play hard-nosed defense, and they like to run the ball. I can tell you what I don't see them doing, and that's going out and getting a guy like Cliff Kingsbury.
No. Offensive coordinator, maybe, but not head coach.
Offensive, yeah. The names that are going to come up a lot are, Jeff Hafley, Chris Shula. I think Brian Flores will at least get an interview. Art Rooney II, the owner of the Steelers, likes Brian Flores. He wanted him here. Yeah, I could really definitely see that coming. I think what went wrong for Flores down in Miami, he's since been a bit vindicated. And if there's an organization that would hire Brian Flores to be a head coach, it would likely be the Steelers, given that he still has that discrimination law pending against the NFL.
All right, we lost Mike there for a minute here. We lost his connection, so we'll get him back in a few minutes. All right, here he goes. He's back now. Okay, Mike,
the Steelers.
Sorry about that.
I've seen Marcus Freeman mentioned in connection with the Steelers job. I would say to Freeman, if Freeman doesn't come to the Steelers, I doubt he ever leaves college for the pros, because this is a job that if you're a college head coach and you want to go in and coach in the pros, the one thing that you're guaranteed is a relatively long runway. And if I was making that jump from the college to the pros, that's what I would be looking at. You know that you're going to have the backing. The only other thing that we know for sure is that, this person is going to have to work with Omar Khan. When Mike was there, Mike probably had a lot more of a say in things on the personnel side than the new coach is going to. So they're going to have, whoever it is going to be Omar's pick, and
it's going to be his team now. He's not going to have Mike Tomlin sitting there going,
and
because I know Mike Tomlin had
this is going to be the start of a rebuild. You got to rebuild the line. They need to get a quarterback. I don't think that they're going to be in a position to get one this year, but certainly in the draft next year, it's forecasting to be a very, very quarterback heavy draft. So there may be some pains this year going through. Like, I almost wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers have a losing record this year. And then we start to see them retool.
All right, Mike, thanks for being part of the program today. Mike SISCAK, Amped Up Sports, covers the Steelers, Commanders, and the Ravens.
Let me ask Mike a question.
Go ahead.
Like, I'm looking at a bridge coach, and the coach that I'm looking at, and I know nobody has said his name, is Mike McCarthy, for a couple reasons. One, the Pittsburgh Steelers have not been able to get the quarterback position right in a long time as far
Ralph,
as
I can't hear you.
Quarterbacks. And can you hear me now, Mike? Okay,
Mike, can you hear him? Go ahead, Mike. Hello?
Maybe you can't hear me.
Go ahead. He's having issues with his internet. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Let him.
No, he's gone. He left. He's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. He was having issues with his internet there for a minute. He was going in and out. So.
Well, let me direct this question to you then. I think a bridge coach would be good. I mean, I know Mike McCarthy's 62 years old. If Aaron Rodgers is going to come back one more year, if he does, I think it would be only because they hired a guy that is familiar with the Mike McCarthy. The Green Bay Packers have always been able to draft and develop quarterbacks. That's something that he does. That offensive system. I think you got to go. I think the fans of Pittsburgh really would like an offensive-minded coach,
Yes.
and Mike McCarthy would be that. I think he would put together a decent staff, and and he's a guy that can be a good head coach and personnel guy for you for 4 or 5 years, and maybe somebody you can promote somebody on his staff, or you can go ahead and get you a young coach. But I would really consider Mike McCarthy.
All right, Mike's back here. Okay, go ahead, Smokin' Jim. You want to ask Mike a question? Go ahead.
Okay, Mike. I would look at a bridge coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A guy like Mike McCarthy, who's had a lot of success with two different teams in the National Football League, has always been able to draft and develop good quarterbacks, especially in Green Bay. He got a system that's in place that if Aaron Rodgers wanted to come back for one more season, I think he would be comfortable in because it was a system that he played in Green Bay. And I think McCarthy would put together a decent staff. I think he would draft a pretty decent quarterback for the future, something the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't been able to do. And I think after 4 or 5 years, you can either promote somebody from his staff because he is 62 years old, or you can hire you a young coach for the future. But I would be looking at a bridge coach like a Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, John Gruden's been suggested here by Pensman Sports. John Gruden. Go ahead, Mike.
That wouldn't be bad either.
If I was going to go with that concept, and I mean, I can understand what you're saying and hire somebody who's going to be here for a good time, not a long time, but that just doesn't seem to be the Steelers' MO of how they do things. If you were going to hire somebody like a Mike McCarthy um, to go through a rebuild, most coaches are going to want to know that they're going to be around after when the team gets good. That said, if you're going to do that, Mike McCarthy might be a good option. I think that we've seen the end of John Gruden as an NFL coach,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
only because, I mean, the way that he exited uh, Las Vegas was not pretty with the text messages and things like that. But that kind of overshadows the fact that later on in his tenure, especially after he won the Super Bowl, John Gruden was basically a 500 level coach. And I can't see paying him, especially an organization like the Steelers, paying him the money that he would want to be paid, giving him the control that he would want to be given for a coach that's going to hover around, if not below 500. I just don't see John Gruden as the answer to the question anymore. If you wanted to go for Mike McCarthy, thinking that he could bring a little bit of stability with some wiggle room after 19 years of the same message, I can hear you. I just don't think that that's the way that the Steelers like to do business. So that's not the way that if I'm going to bet, I don't think that's the way they're going to go.
All right, Mike, thank you for being part of the show again. And Smokin' Jimmy, have any final questions or anything you want to add before Mike goes?
No, great job as usual, Mike. Always an honor to have you on.
All right, the gentlemen, we'll be back soon, and we'll get into the Ravens and
Ravens and
the
the Commanders. Yeah.
Commanders. I have a sense that those aren't going anywhere in the immediate future.
There you go. All right, Mike SISCAK, thank you for being part of the show. I want to wish you a happy new year as well, Mike. Thank you. All right, Mike SISCAK from Amped Up Sports. Smokin' Jimmy added a lot of perspective here. We got some great comments here. Let's go to a few of them here. We're going to start with, and I know Pensman's been putting a lot up here, which is great, and I'm glad. Let me see here. What do we got for him? All right, here's one here. Oh, wait, that was an old comment there. Let me see what this one is. I saw his post game show last night, Mike or Pensman, and let me say this: I had an irky feeling in the tone of his voice that I saw something coming, but I didn't expect it to be today. Let me just put it to you that way. I did not expect it to happen today. All right. I could tell the way he was acting with the media. I could tell with the way he was conducting himself with what he was saying and whatnot last night. And I thought it was post game show. You're right. I did point, a good point there. Mickey Delaney. Yeah, no one expected it today. Mickey, thank you for being part of the show. Smokin, Jeremy B, Jeremy Balwick, Detroit Lions. Yeah, it's how you doing there, Smokin, Jeremy B? And I want to say, it's been one of those days today. And Pensman said, what about John Gruden? Again, Mike brought that up about John Gruden. I don't see that happening. That would be a great thing to have him come in, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And yeah, there we go. Smokin Jeremy B. You are correct. We didn't expect this today. I didn't, and neither did anyone else. I was actually kind of shocked when I heard it. I had to really dig deep into my contacts to find out if this was true. I mean, I had heard it, and you hear things, people say stuff on the internet, and right now, preliminary coaching, I'm seeing pictures of Curt Cignetti in a Steeler coaching sweater. So already they're starting Curt Cignetti from Indiana Hoosiers. So I don't think they're going to go for a college coach. I mean, I know Art Rooney II's made some dumb decisions, but I don't know if that's one of them. But now here's something we have to look at, Smokin Jim, and let's talk about that for a minute here. Okay, let's look at now. Art II has to make this decision to hire this coach. Mike Tomlin was hired when Dan Rooney was still alive, so Dan Rooney had input into what was going on. He doesn't have that now. He's going to have to do this himself. And he's going to really have to, think about who he hires and whatnot. So let's see what happens and where it goes here. It says, what if Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin switch places? Well, that would be funny. Yeah, that would be funny if Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin switch places. Harbaugh ends up here and Tomlin ends up with the Ravens. Wouldn't that be funny? That would be a scenario I don't know would really happen, but you never know. Of course, it's the National Football League. Anything can happen. But anyhow, John Gruden, you are correct on that one. All right. Smokin Jim, what do you think? Art II now has to make his decision. What's your thoughts on this here? He has to make it himself now. He doesn't have Daddy there. So, think about that for a minute. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to kind of correct Mike on, but I didn't want to keep him on too long. But he was saying the Steeler way, where all the Steeler way is all in the grave. The chief is gone, and he hired Chuck Noll, Dan Rooney, hired Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin, and don't forget that Kevin Colbert was involved in. Right now, you got the con man that wouldn't know a football from a beach ball, and you got Art Rooney II that is not a guy that loves football. So right now, that's why I would go with a bridge coach, a guy that can put together his own staff, a guy that's going to immediately upgrade the offense. And that guy would be Mike McCarthy. And it's not the Steeler way, but I think that when you got inexperienced people and hiring at the top level of coaches, and Art II and Omar Khan, that's the direction that I would go. And I think Mike McCarthy is good enough to put a staff together that when he steps away from football, that somebody off his staff can inherit that job. Hey, the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys has always had offenses that you fear, and Mike McCarthy would be able to bring that here, and maybe Aaron Rodgers would play one more season. I thought that this offense never fit Aaron Rodgers. I thought he struggled in this offense. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, so he makes things look good. But I think he would love to go back to that Green Bay Packer offense with Mike McCarthy. I think he would come back for one more year. And Mike McCarthy knows how to draft young quarterbacks for the future, and that's something that Pittsburgh Steelers never could do.
All right. We have here on the phone with us Ray FIDEPALDO from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's going to join us here for a couple minutes. Ray, we were going to have you on to talk about the Houston Texans game, and now we had to sidetrack everything because Mike Tomlin stepped down. What's going on down in Steeler offices right now?
Players for about 45 minutes, and then we found out shortly thereafter that Mike had stepped down. He told his players at that meeting in Wordley South shortly thereafter. So I guess this is a fitting end to an up and down season, and after 19 seasons and only 3 head coaches since 1969, Steelers will be on the search for a new head coach starting tomorrow.
All right, Smokin, Jim, you have any questions for Ray FIDEPALDO?
Yeah, Ray, there's a lot of candidates out there. Who do you think maybe 2 or 3 that maybe will get an interview with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I hear a lot about the young head coaches who have never been head coaches in the NFL before, because that's a pattern the Steelers have followed over the years. So, a guy like Chris Shula. Now, Marcus Freeman is a head coach in college, but he's never been a head coach in the NFL. I think you're going to hear names like that, young guys who are on the rise. I think will be attracted to the Steelers. And one other name that I thought of today, and I don't know how much Omar Khan is going to be involved in this process, but Omar goes way back with Mike McCarthy, way back to their days with the Saints in the early 2000s. Before Omar came to the Steelers, he is tight with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is a Pittsburgh native. I know it doesn't fit the mold of what the Steelers have done in the past, but I'll just throw his name out there as well.
Yeah, what I think, Ray, is I think the Steelers need to quit worrying about the past and worry about the future. That's what needs to happen, and we need to get a coach in here that'll work with the future, so on. Smokin, Jim, do you have any questions for Ray? Ray's got a limited amount of time here.
Yeah, I'll let Ray go. It's amazing, Ray, for about a half hour, for a full half hour before you came on, I was pushing Mike McCarthy, man. So I'm glad we both think alike. I think it'd be a good bridge coach. He's 62 years old, and I think the Steeler Nation would love to see the improvement on offense, and Mike McCarthy would do that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree, Jim. There's going to be a lot of names that are floated out there. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks for the Steelers. If you look at the timeline on when they have hired head coaches in the past, they never bring this into February. So this is probably going to happen within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have a new head coach in place, and it'll be a new era for Steelers football. So it's going to be, I'm sure we'll talk in the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure it's going to be very, very interesting to see what transpires.
All right, thank you, Ray, for being part of the program. Get back to the Steeler headquarters there. Keep us informed as to what's going on, and we'll have you come back on as the coaching search continues. And who would you hire, Ray? I'm going to ask you this question. Who would you hire if you were Omar Khan right now?
Oh, man, it's too early to tell, Ralph. I think, the names I mentioned are intriguing, but I kind of want to study it a little bit more and see who all is out there before I make any predictions. But Smokin knows this. This is probably the best job in the NFL. Whoever takes this job knows they're going to have time. They're not going to be rushed into, having worry about getting fired after 2 or 3 years. So you're going to get the cream of the crop of the head coaching candidates here, with this job search.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And already it's on the internet. Kurt Cignetti in a Steelers sweater. So there you go. They already got Kurt Cignetti. I've already heard Narduzzi's been fired and Mike Tomlin's taken over at Pitt. I've heard that story already. You got some ridiculous rumors just roaming around out there. So oh my gosh. All right, Ray, thank you. Get back to the Steeler headquarters there where Ray FIDEPALDO is there. Smokin, Jimmy, have anything else you want to add before I let Ray go?
No, thanks for coming on, Ray. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep, sorry. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Ray, thank you. Ray FIDEPALDO from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I want to thank him for spending what little time he could with us today, Smokin' Jim. He's down at the Steeler headquarters. I'm hearing stories that there's going to be a press conference coming up, if it's not going on right now, with Art Rooney II talking about the coaching search and Mike Tomlin stepping down. There's supposed to be a press conference coming up, but no one knows when. And I have heard nothing at this point as to what time. And it probably will be one tomorrow, because I would suspect they want to dissect this, and we'll find out what's going on here. Those of you who don't know, and those of you who are hiding under a rock, or you've been working today and haven't tuned in, it's all over the place. Even the homeless know that Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steeler head coach, has stepped down as the coach of the Steelers. And 19 seasons, I was wrong. I said he was going to step down after his 20th season next year. But one thing I was right about, Smokin' Jim, and there's one thing that I will not have to do. And I said that if the Steelers went to the Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin, I would do all my shows naked. Well, now I don't have to do them naked now. Isn't that nice?
You did say that. You did say that, brother.
I did. And I also said that the Steelers will never get to another Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin. And I was right on that one. The only thing I was wrong on was he stepped down a year earlier than I could have been right on that one. But but that's fine. I'm actually kind of glad he stepped down. And what? Yeah, exactly. Here, I'll give you a what right back. Here you go. There you go. The reason I say that is because what? Yeah, the Steeler head coach happened. Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steeler head coach, has stepped down. We're doing a special 90-minute show today. We're going to talk about Greg Roman, offensive coordinator. He's out there. Hey, Mike McCarthy takes over. Maybe let Greg Roman come in as an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. I've said this many times. If someone's going to be a head coach, you need to be the head coach. I don't care if you're an offensive mind or a defensive mind. If you're a defensive mind, bring in somebody that's as good as you are and have them manage your or take care of your defense, coach your defense. You be the head coach. You dictate. You do this. You do that. You clock management. Or if you're not good at being a head coach to start, bring in some assistants that are good. And the interesting part too, Smokin' Jim, and let's dig into this a little bit. Mike Tomlin had a lot of luxury here. He came into a job where he had a franchise quarterback. He had Dick LeBeau as his defensive coordinator, Bruce Arians as his offensive coordinator. Okay. He's had some of his line. Well, Russ Grimm didn't stay as his line coach. He hired Jack Bicknell. And then he had Mike Munchak. Yeah, Mike Munchak is his coach at one time. Todd Haley. I can name you some of the Todd Haley's a jerk, but you know what? Todd Haley is a good offensive coach. And I thought he did a pretty adequate job when he was here in Pittsburgh as an offensive coordinator. Then Mike Tomlin's problem was he started hiring these yes men, the Matt Canadas of the world, the Terrell Austins, your favorite defensive coordinator, Smokin' Jim. And even before I knew you, you were on PCTV, and I used to watch you when you were on Steel City Sports World, and every show you would say the Steelers need to fire Keith Butler. So, and I knew Keith Butler was your favorite defensive coordinator, Smokin Jim. But anyway, fire Keith Butler. Yeah, you wanted him gone before he could even get his feet wet as a defensive coordinator. You wanted him gone. Oh my gosh. So yes, the Steelers do need an overhaul. Thank you for that, Kraken. It says that the Steelers need an overhaul. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I personally believe that this was the best thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers that just happened. And with Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers were to come back, I think another thing is that uncertainty too, I think made Mike Tomlin step down, because he didn't know what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. They pushed him last night. They pushed him. And he still didn't come around to tell anybody what he was going to do. And if I know Aaron Rodgers, he'll take 6 years. He'll go to an ashram. Him and his wife will go to the movies, and then he'll tell you he's gonna, see how long it took him to get to Pittsburgh. But you know what? I don't blame him. That's a key. That's a key thing. So it says this team is full of replacements. Yes, it is, Kraken. Absolutely. I agree 100%. All right, comment section wide open. Emails. Here we go, Smokin Jim. Here we go. Emails. Ralph Williams, 737@gmail.com. I'm getting exploded here. Keith from Garfield says, Ralph, Smokin Jim, love the show. Watch you guys on Steel City Sports World. Love the show. I want to tell you, it is a time for change in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Thank you, Keith. All right, let's go into this next email here. This is from Lisa. Lisa's from Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh. She says, Ralph, I used to see you all the time up in Allentown on your motorized scooter. She says, I miss you in the neighborhood, and I was wondering where you have gone, but that's fine. She says, I still watch all your programs, and I want to tell you, you do a really good job in representing the city well. You and Smokin Jim do a real good job on this program, and go Steelers, and yes, it's time for a change. Mike Tomlin had to go. That's from Lisa in Allentown. We got, let's see here. We got Gladys from the north side. Gladys says, Ralph, great show you have going on here today. I know you were planning on talking about something else, or at least yet the debacle of a game yesterday last night against Houston. And I know you had to change your plans because of today's Mike Tomlin thing. I did. And thank you, Gladys. She said, watch the program often as much as I can, and appreciate you and Smokin Jim. That's 3 emails here. I've got about a ton of them here, but I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them tonight. We will try, as we have other things we want to talk about in the National Football League. But anyway, Smokin Jim, your thoughts on the game last night? It was 7-6 going into the fourth quarter. I actually thought the Steelers might, Aaron Rodgers play captain comeback and bring the team back and win the game. Didn't happen. D'Amico Ryans, I got to give him credit. His defense was just stellar last night. The offensive line for the Steelers kept getting beat big time. Your thoughts on last night's game and, the debacle in the fourth quarter.
Well, one of the differences, Will Anderson played like a first-round draft pick.
Yes, he did.
And Derek Harmon plays invisible as usual. You can't continue to go in the first round and draft these defensive linemen, and old man Cam Hayward is out playing them, man. And you're 22 years old. Hey, listen.
Y.A. Black had a good game last night. Y.A. Black.
Yes, he did.
He had a good game.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And they got him in the
Jack Sawyer. My man.
Jack Sawyer.
I told everybody about Jack Sawyer, did I not? Did I not tell everybody about Jack Sawyer? Yep.
Another fifth round pick. Derek Harmon ought to give them his money. But hey, listen, I guess there's a difference, Ralph, between winning on Monday Night Football in regular season in playoff Monday Night
Yeah,
Football.
exactly.
It was night and day as far as the talent. The Houston Texans, their defense, like you said, was unbelievable.
Oh,
They made all the mistakes in the world. The Steelers just couldn't capitalize
no, they did not.
off the mistake because the defense wasn't going for it. And I thought that I was kind of surprised. You know, the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I'll let you go after this. Last 4 or 5 weeks, man, Freiermuth's been catching the ball better than probably any other tight end in football, and they just would not go to him. I don't know if there's a problem with him and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers stopped going to DK Metcalf after Metcalf dropped that bomb in the
Yeah.
first quarter. So
Yeah.
you just never know. You know, Aaron Rodgers is temperamental, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Freiermuth said something to him that he didn't like in practice one day, and he liked to shut him out. But hey, the better team won, and I think Houston has a chance to upset New England next week.
Yes, I believe that to be the case. And, you know, you win games on defense. It's always
Yes,
said
sir.
that. And,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
so Houston came with their defense last night. And there was nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing, though, Smokin' Jim, like you said, Houston made so many mistakes the Steelers just couldn't capitalize on. They said, here's the game, Steelers, take it. And they didn't take it. Okay. They didn't execute. They didn't take it. The offense was terrible. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass. And, you know, how do you pass against the number one passing defense in the entire league? The Houston Texans have the number one passing defense. They always line up 5 defensive backs, so it's hard to pass against the Houston Texans. Okay? And they probably the best thing that I think the Steelers had going for them was the short pass and the screen passes. That was the only thing that they had going for them because of the 5 defensive backs. Okay?
Right.
But I'll tell you this much, Smokin' Jim, and I think you'll agree with me. I will not miss Terrell Austin or Arthur Smith. So,
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, you know, Terrell Smith is incompetent, or Terrell Austin. I mean, I'm sorry. Boy, I got their names mixed up. How about Arthur Austin and Terrell Smith? Oh, my. All right. Cragen said, love you guys. Go Steelers. Thank you, Cragen. He also says, it says they're picked to win the rest of the playoffs. Yes, they are. Houston, he was talking about. Sawyer did great. Yes, he did. I talked about Jack Sawyer. I wanted the Steelers to pick him. I said at the draft party, Smokin' Jim is my witness. Luther Dupree, Claudio,
Yes,
my wife is my witness.
Did.
I said Jack Sawyer, and I was right. And it says they should get Freiermuth involved more. I think they will, Cragen, with this new coach. If Aaron Rodgers don't come back, I will tell you, Smokin' Jim, I do know why. I think he, overthrew a lot last night, Rodgers. Well, he was under pressure. The offensive line didn't do anything last night. They were terrible. They couldn't block their way out of a paper bag last night. It was terrible. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, I think this probably, Smokin' Jim, had to be the worst game that I've seen the offensive line do this year. And then to have your worst game in a playoff game, that's even the worst of it all. You know what I mean? You know, so,
yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
you know, a few of our D-backs got burned last night. Porter had a pretty good game. Joey Porter. I thought he did pretty well. He had a good game. Now, my next question to you, Smokin' Jim, and there's a lot of questions, more questions than answers. But, you know, we're going to come back here in a few moments. We're going to continue our sports corner. No wrestle talk tonight because of the stepping down of Mike Tomlin. We've decided to have a 90-minute show tonight. We're going to spend the next half hour talking more about Mike Tomlin stepping down, other NFL coaches that got fired today. Where did the Steelers go for a head coach? Who do you think? I'll put you in the general manager's chair because Omar Khan obviously is a numbers cruncher, not a GM. We will find out what Andy Weidell's made of as an assistant GM. Does he have contacts and that he can get somebody in here? I don't know. He was the one that put the roster together for the Philly Eagles. And, you know, my Philadelphia brethren, because my Ralph Williams show is on in Philly, on Wednesdays, 3 to 4 p.m. Tomorrow. That's going to be the talk of the town about Philadelphia. And now the Steelers are going to be the talk of all towns. My phone burned up as soon as I heard it had happened. My phone burned up with everybody. Ralph, did you hear about Mike Tomlin? And I had to actually, Smokin' Jim, dig deep. I had to dig deep to make sure that this was correct, because I didn't want to get burned. Mike Tomlin got fired or whatever. But I will tell you, the world of ridiculous rumors. It said that Mike Tomlin. All right, here we go. Here, Olympic will save your life. Okay, well that's good to know. All right, all right. Cragen says yes. All right, there we are. All right, when we come back, we're gonna take a little station break here. When we come back, more of the Sports Corner Show. We'll be here till 5:30 talking about Mike Tomlin stepping down and other NFL news. So stay right here. We'll be right back.
listening to The Sports Nuts.
All right, welcome back to another edition of the for the remaining 30 minutes here. We've been here since 4 o'clock, and today there will be no wrestle talk. And the reason there's no wrestle talk today is because of the stepping down of Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. And I want to welcome our friends on the Hawaii Sports Network. I also want to welcome our friends at 95.5 KFCE in Terrell, Texas. I also want to thank TaggerNation.com in Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. 93.3 KGR in Seattle, Washington. I also want to thank 107.5 The Ticket in Montgomery, Alabama. Also, let's see here, KMGB in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to thank them as well. Also, 105.5 The Roar in Easley, South Carolina, and also WGR 550 AM radio in Buffalo, New York. I want to thank all those. We are live on those stations right now here with the Sports Corner Show, and we're here on the Sports Nuts Network, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube, and on the Twitter X platforms as well. Not only just on my platform, but also on the Sports Nuts, Pensman Sports, and also Tiger Stripes Media. We're all part of the same Sports Nuts Network, and I want to thank Brandon Keeler for letting us broadcast here on the Sports Nuts Network as well. All right, let's get into today's biggest thing, the 600-pound gorilla in the room, and that's Mike Tomlin stepping down as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach today. 19 seasons. He has a lot. He's won a lot of regular season games, never had a losing season. All right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. We're here in Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland. And also, we're sponsored by Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland. Call for all your real estate needs, short-term rentals, rental property, anything you need. Call Mike today, Mike Dotson Realty, 410-596-1681. Mike Dotson Realty. Okay, this next segment is brought to you by, if I can find the thing here, let's see what we got. No, that's not it. And let's see if that one, nope, that's not it either. Oh, here we go. I think I found it right now. There we are, BigJimSpikes.com. Go on BigJimSpikes.com in Ocean City, Maryland. 3 locations on the boardwalk, 410-289-1203. Call Big Jim Spikes. Reserve your handicap scooter like I am in a wheelchair. Also, you can reserve any kind of scooter or bike that Big Jim's has. He has those bikes where you can put 5 people in them and pedal everybody around. He has all different types of makes of bikes and scooters. Call him today, 410-289-1203. My advice to you is to please call Big Jim. Tell him Ralph Williams sent you. And also, don't forget to check him out. He has 3 locations on the boardwalk in Ocean City, open year-round. So check it out. If you're coming in for Valentine's Day weekend, or if you're coming for a conference or anything in Ocean City, and you need to get a motorized scooter in your handicap like I am, you can call Big Jim's as well, Big Jim Scooter and bikes. All right. Smokin' Jim, welcome back. We're here for another 30 minutes, or a little less than 30 minutes, actually, because we're a little late. But we're back here talking about Mike Tomlin stepping down as Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. Where do they go? And so on and so forth. But we have other NFL news. The Titans today have interviewed Brian DeBoer for their head coaching position. And now that Mike Tomlin stepped down, Arthur Smith is now headed to Tennessee to interview as well. I just got word from a contact of mine with the Tennessee Titans. And Brian DeBoer and Arthur Smith are interviewing today. So I just want to let everyone know that as well. And also, Terrell Austin, I heard he's interviewing for chief janitorial engineer for the Mean Machine football team. So there you go. So I want to let everyone know that as well. So I will not miss Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin. Believe me, I will not miss them, and I don't think anyone else will either. Pat Meyer, I thought he did a pretty decent job. I won't miss Danny Smith either, the special teams coach. I know Chris Boswell kicked well. Special teams was suspect, has been for a while. Letting kick returners get to the 40 and 50-yard line, giving them good field position. Corliss Waitman started out good. He was sort of up and down, and then last night's game he did all right. He had some 50 and 60-yard punts. But he was a little inconsistent there for a little bit. But we'll see what happens next year. Who comes back, who don't. Smokin' Jim, my question to you is, do you think the Steelers won on the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade? I want to ask you that question right now.
Do I think they won on it?
Yes.
I do. I think that Meek is a great player, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Jalen Ramsey is a Hall of Famer. And I think Jalen is more of a vocal leader, which Pittsburgh Steelers can use more of those. I think the Jonnu Smith trade was a wash because Jonnu wasn't able to accomplish what he accomplished last year. So his production wasn't there. So, and I don't think he'll be back with the team. But, yeah, I think Jalen Ramsey was upgrade over Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Brandon Keeler is reporting from the Sports Nuts Network here, and he is reporting that there's breaking news that the Falcons have finalized to announce their front office and coaching positions there, Smokin' Jim. Rumor has it that the front office position might be taken by Matt Ryan. They're pulling him out of the booth or out of the TV network. And, he may be taking that position there. They want somebody with Atlanta Falcon blood in them to sort of, I guess, run the program, to understand what's going on. Matt Ryan, to me, with Atlanta, that's not a bad idea. I don't see where they could go wrong. For the last two coaches that they've hired, Arthur Smith and Raheem Morris, they need to get it right this time, Smokin' Jim. What do you think about Atlanta here in this announcement?
What's the announcement again, Ralph? I'm sorry, I missed part of that.
There will be an announcement made sometime today on general manager and head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, as reported by Brandon Keeler of the Sports Nuts, who covers the Atlanta Falcons. And
whatever you give me.
And he says that that they're going to announce tonight who their GM and head coach will be. I think the GM, I was told, Matt Ryan is in charge of director of operations, and I believe they're going to have a GM and a head coach. Who do you think gets this job, Smokin' Jim, in Atlanta?
Ooh, yeah, I'm not sure, man. That's
They're going to have to get an offensive coach because of Michael Penix. They're going to have to do something with Kirk Cousins.
I don't know if they're. I think they may move off of Penix.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can't make the club in the tub. He's been hurt his whole career.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, he started his football career at Indiana, and he was always hurt there. And then he transferred to Washington and kind of stayed healthy, but been hurt both years in the NFL. So I think that let's see where Ryan does, Matty Ice does. So I think Matty Ice is the president of the organization now. He was an outstanding quarterback. I'm not sure if he'll make the Hall of Fame, but he was close to a Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think he's going to move off of Penix.
Yeah, I think so. You also got Kirk Cousins there. We all said everybody wants his agent for what he was getting paid. What a waste of money that was. So why do you bring in Kirk Cousins and then draft Michael Penix, and then, nothing seemed to work out there, but we'll see what goes on in Atlanta. Baltimore Ravens still don't have a head coach yet. They interviewed a heap of people on Sunday. Brian Flores got an interview there. I heard Todd Monken, their offensive coordinator with the Ravens, or former offensive coordinator with the Ravens, has some interest from some teams. Smokin' Jim, I don't see Todd Monken getting a job. He's a little too old.
Thank you.
He's a little too old. I don't see him being a head coach. Maybe stays as a coordinator. It took him forever to get Todd Monken, the former offensive coordinator with the Ravens. I don't see him getting a head coaching job. He's a little too old. I don't see him. I think age is against him on this one, and so we'll see where the Ravens go with their head coach. And also New York Giants. John Harbaugh's rumored to go there. Miami. Mike McDaniel is supposedly interviewing with Cleveland. We're hearing McDaniel and offensive coordinator in Washington. We're hearing Mike McDaniel, offensive coordinator here and there and all over the place. And he's a hot commodity. Maybe what he lacked in head coaching experience in Miami, he's very good at. He's a very good offensive coordinator. So, and a quarterback's coach. So we'll see where Mike McDaniel goes. Cliff Kingsbury, I'm hearing, is getting interviews, whether it be OC or head coaching job. I don't see him being a head coach either. OC maybe, and a quarterback coach. We'll see. Maybe I'll go back to college. I don't know. We'll see what Cliff Kingsbury does as well. Philadelphia Eagles are looking for an offensive coordinator. They fired theirs today. LA Chargers looking for an offensive coordinator. They fired Greg Roman. His family is friends with the Harbaughs. I'm surprised that Jim Harbaugh made a statement. He said that he didn't really want to fire him, but the front office got on him and told him to get, when the front office talks, you listen. And the front office said they want him. We want Greg Roman out. So they fired him. And Greg Roman is not a bad offensive coordinator. He was the head coach at Stanford for a few years and didn't do too bad there. So, Greg Roman's a hot commodity out there. The Steelers might want to look at his OC. whoever they decide to hire. I don't know yet if it's going to be a defensive coach, an offensive coach, or a special teams coach. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. Bill Cowher was a special teams coach and a defensive coordinator. So you never know out there what's going to happen. But the coaching carousel continues to go. Smokin, Jim, your thoughts? Green Bay, I'm hearing stories they want Matt LaFleur out up there. Do you think that's a wise idea?
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. But Green Bay's a smart organization, man. You know, they don't have an owner.
Yeah. Yeah. So when the fans talk, people listen.
Yeah. Well, they're smart because the people are vested in that with the stock and whatnot. They're vested in that organization. So I think what they'll do is LaFleur will get an extension. That way, Green Bay will either trade him or get very well compensated players, draft picks, something like that for him. So I look for LaFleur to get an extension. And if Green Bay moves on from them, Green Bay will clean up a little bit in terms of compensation.
Yeah, especially Micah Parsons.
What a bad move,
man. Did I not tell you about his back? I told you he has a bad back, and that was a bad move. And you know what? Yeah. It's biting Green Bay right in the backside. And it's tearing them up. And, now they got a lot of capital involved in that. Let's get away from the NFL a little bit, but let's get into these games this weekend. Buffalo versus Denver. What do you see in this game, Smokin, Jim?
Well, I'll never count out Josh Allen, man. I can't believe he finished that game last weekend. I mean, the way his knee looked, it looked like he was going to be out with a knee injury, and then he hit his hand so bad that it affected fingers and thumbs and maybe the wrist, and he still was able to man up, man, and play well enough to win the football game, man. The guy's just incredible football player, man. How in the world, man, they had two tough quarterbacks in Buffalo, and that's Jim Kelly and Josh Allen, man. Them guys, they'll play in pain, they'll play hurt, they just want to win. So I'm not counting out Josh Allen. I think Buffalo can go to Denver and maybe pull the upset.
I'd like to see them do that. I'm not a Sean Payton fan. Anyway, he kind of got lucky up there.
But hey, Ralph.
Yes.
Just think, it was all set up this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a home game here with Houston, right?
Right.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could have probably went on the road, maybe and upset a New England team that don't score a lot of points.
No, and they didn't score a lot of them in the regular season. What was it, 27-23 or something?
Then if Buffalo would have upset Denver, the Pittsburgh Steelers would have played the championship game at home against Buffalo.
Yes, absolutely.
So, it was all set up this year for them.
Yeah, remember back in 1997 when the Steelers beat the Denver Broncos at home. John Elway was the quarterback. And
Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, and then they came into the playoff game and beat us in the AFC Championship game. And, so things like that could happen. We could have went to New England and got beat because New England was a different team when they played us then than they are now. And, that kind of scenario could have painted out as well. But you're right. I think that if they would have beat Houston, they probably, they probably would have went to New England, beat them, and the AFC Championship game would be at Acrisure Stadium, and the Steelers could be on their way to the Super Bowl, and I could be on my way to doing my shows naked because I told you they get the Super Bowl. And but see, I'm 2-1. I was right about that. Mike Tomlin, the Steelers will never go to the Super Bowl again with Mike Tomlin. They did not. And then I also said that I was wrong on the 20 years. He decided to step away today. Mike Tomlin. Those of you who don't know, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, has decided to step down, and he's going to be a hot commodity out there. I'm sure his phone's already ringing off the hook. I don't know if he's going to sit back, take a break, if he's going to go help his son Dino get a job, because I don't know if he'll get one in the NFL. So, but anyway, or help, maybe he'll help drive a truck and haul some of that clothing around that his wife does. His wife's got this clothing business or whatever, so, we'll see.
Well, let me ask you this, Ron.
Go ahead.
Everybody always say for years that Mike Tomlin would be out of work for 5 minutes if he wanted to continue coaching. Just say, for example, he wants to continue coaching. Do you think there's an owner out there that will fire their current head coach to hire Mike Tomlin?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll tell you who would do it. I'll tell you who I think would do it, Tampa Bay. They would fire Todd Bowles in a second and bring Mike Tomlin down there. Can you see that? Tomlin returning to Tampa? Can you see that? You think about that for a minute.
Good job,
because
Ralph.
see, Todd Bowles, technically though, Todd Bowles is kind of on a hot seat with the fans down there. They want him out because they've been mediocre too. They want him out. And so I don't know what Todd Bowles' problem is down there. I mean, I know he's lost 2 of his offensive coordinators to head coaching jobs, and they're doing pretty well. Both of them were in the playoffs. Dave Canellis was in the playoffs with Carolina, and Liam Cohen is in the playoffs with Jacksonville, or was in the playoffs with Jacksonville. One. So here's
another one to think about, Ralph. Now you got me thinking now. Who's the head coach for Carolina?
Dave Canellis.
Okay.
Dave Canellis, and he was the offensive coordinator in Seattle under Pete Carroll. He was the one that resurrected Geno Smith's career.
Okay. How long has he been in Carolina?
This is his second year, I believe. This
is
his second or third year. I think it's his second year. Yeah.
Don't forget, one of the minority owners of the Pittsburgh Steelers, while Mike Tomlin was there, is the owner of Carolina Panthers.
Oh, yeah. You mean
would he?
You mean one of the Tepper families? You mean one of the Teppers? Yeah. There's one of the Teppers on there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Would he consider Mike Tomlin?
He might. There's a good thought there too. I'll tell you who might consider Mike Tomlin, but I don't know if he could deal with the New York media, and I don't know if he would want to go to the Jets. And he might bring Justin Fields with him. The Jets, I'd fire Aaron Glenn in a minute and put him up there.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I'd be barking up Mike Tomlin's tree. I'd be following him all over the place and say, hey, you know what I mean? And Mike Tomlin, I'm going to miss the Tomlinisms. Remember those? The one that got me the best was after the Jets game this year. This was the new one. We got caught with our slip showing. So in the first half, we got caught with our slip showing. So, and I mean, some of his comments, the collective, we got to get back into the laboratory, And how about the one, and you and I teased this one when we were on Beaver County Radio, when Brooke Pryor asked him about his contract, and he just walked off the podium. He just walked off the stage and said, I ain't gonna comment on that. And some of his comments at his press conferences were just just hilarious. I mean, I think we're going to miss the Tomlinisms. I really believe that. And, I'm going to miss them too, because the collective and but here's a good one that I'm taking now from Danny Nee, who used to coach Robert Morris and Duquesne. I think he might still be at Gateway. He was an assistant basketball coach working at Gateway there for a little while. I don't know if he's still there or not, Smokin' Jim. You can look into that. But Danny Nee used to say, yeah, we didn't deliver the mail. when they would lose, he'd say, we didn't deliver the mail. So
I like that.
Dave Wanstadt's favorite line was, it is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
There were some great lines out there over the years, coaches with some great lines. And I can remember when I used to go down to Bill Cowher press conferences in the 90s, and he would scream and shout at people because they would, I've told you the story 100 times about Joel Steed when he hurt his leg. And I'm sitting there with Sam Nover, and at the press conference, and this kid comes up. He's real young, and he said, "Oh, I just started. I work at the TV station in Johnstown." And Sam Nova and I looked at each other, right? And I said, and he says, "Can you guys help me out here? What do you think I should ask him? How do I refer to him?" And I told him, I said, "Don't call him Bill. Only certain people can do that." I said, "You have to be in the upper echelon, like Ed Bouchette or one of them, to call him Bill, okay, or Bob Labriola or one of them guys." And I said, "Call him Coach." I said, "Don't ask him any stupid questions. I mean, and listen to what he tells you. I mean, if he comes out with an injury report, make sure you pay close attention to that, and don't ask him anything that he said on that injury report." So he said Joel Steed's out for the rest of the season because of he hurt his knee. He's out the rest of the season. Smokin' Jim, what do you think that kid asked Bill Cowher?
I hope it wasn't about Joel Steed.
Yeah, he says, "What's the status of Joel Steed?" And Cowher flipped out at him. He says, "I just told you what's going on with Joel Steed. Why would you even ask me about Joel Steed?" I was like, and then Sam Nova and I just looked at each other and laughed. I mean, it was so freaking funny because I told this kid, I said, "You got to be careful what you say to Coach." I said, "What?" And I said, "And pay very close attention to when he comes out and gives the injury report, and don't repeat that. You repeat that, he'll get mad at you." And he flipped the and this kid had these pop bottle glasses on, and I swear they cracked after Bill Cowher. I mean, he got the Cowher shower. I mean, it was like they came straight out, and Bill Cowher he was fired up. He was mad. And then I was down there. I was down there one time in the early 2000s when I still had my show on PCTV, and Ben Roethlisberger hurt his thumb, and John Shumway was down there. And what do you think John Shumway asked Bill Cowher? How's Ben's thumb?
No.
And Bill Cowher went, "John, do we have to go there, John? I already told you, John, about Ben's thumb." I was like, "Oh my gosh," So yeah, that was hilarious. I'm going to miss the Tomlinisms. That's what I'm going to miss. What are you going to miss about Mike Tomlin as the coach of the Steelers? His Tomlinisms. What do you?
I think the main thing I'm going to miss about him as a black man, no scandals, family man. I thought his level of professionalism off and on the field was second to none. His charisma. Hey, listen, we could see through a lot of that, you and I.
Yes, exactly.
But
yeah.
But nationally, he was loved. I don't think, other than the time he walked off the podium, I don't think. I thought he always was pretty patient with the media. Even though he had intimidated the
he tore the Pittsburgh media up. Oh, he tore him up. Yeah, but Brooke Pryor always got on his nerves. Brooke Pryor, yeah, she always asked him tough questions, and he hated it.
And we may all miss the wins. Who knows?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people in the media that hopes the Steelers go downhill for the next couple of years so that they could get some good draft picks and quarterbacks, but that's no guarantee.
No, not at all. Not at all. What you need to do is you need to have a mix of free agents, and I think the Steelers kind of learned their lesson a little bit, bringing in some of these older guys. Darius Slay stunk up the joint this year. He got hurt. Can't help the club if you're in the tub. I thought that Jalen Ramsey, he had his game or two, but I thought he did pretty good. I mean, I liked them in the defensive backfield. Eccles played okay. This year Porter stepped up a little bit. Jack Sawyer, Holcomb, Cole Holcomb made a comeback a little bit this year. I thought he did pretty good. Patrick Queen didn't do too bad toward the end of the season. He started picking his game up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he gets surgery on his lung, TJ Watt stepped it up the last few games. So, I mean, we all sat there and got angry with him about what was going on. And TJ Watt actually made some comments last night check out his post game show on YouTube. He really criticized the scheme and some other stuff. So he went off last night, and that's a rarity for him. But I heard he went off last night. I didn't see the whole thing. I'm going to check it out later on. But I heard that he went off last night as well. All right, Smokin' Jim, let's go over these games real quick, and we're going to wrap it up here. I'll let you get to Pittsburgh Sports Line there. We'll check Smokin' Jim out tonight, 7 o'clock, Pittsburgh Sports Line on Bethel Park TV. They'll be on YouTube and Facebook as well, so you can check them out there. If you don't live in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, you can check them out there as well. So, all right, Bills, Broncos, we already talked about that. These are Saturday's games. 49ers, Seahawks, Smokin' Jim. I see the Seahawks winning this game. What do you think?
The Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks at home on this one. Sam Darnold's on a roll. Clint Kubiak's up for coaching jobs. I see this to be an audition for him. The Texans and the Patriots on Sunday. What do you think? Texans upset the Patriots? I think so.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance. The defense, like me and you said, defense wins championship.
Yes, it does. All right, here's the game of the week, I think, pretty much. The Rams versus the Bears. The Bears showed me something when they beat Green Bay. Ben Johnson has not done a bad job as the head coach of the Bears. He has Dennis Allen as his defensive coordinator, stinks as a head coach, but a good defensive coordinator. You got Caleb Williams selling into his system. The defense is playing for Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson. The Bears are at home. Rams kind of got lucky against Carolina because Carolina made a couple stupid mistakes. Your thoughts on this game? I think this is a toss-up, but who are you taking?
Man, I didn't like what I seen from the Rams this past weekend.
Yeah, I didn't either.
They look like a football team that was making business decisions about going over the middle to get the football.
Yeah.
They didn't run the ball well. So I think the Chicago Bears, one more week, I think the Chicago wins.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Smokin' Jim, thank you for being part of the program today. I want to thank everybody out there for listening. I want to say aloha to my friends and our friends in Hawaii on the Hawaii Sports Network. I also want to say thank you to all the radio stations that picked us up today and broadcasted us live on their stations today, part of the Sports Nuts Network, Brandon Keeler as well. I want to thank contributions from everybody in the comments section. Big time in emails today, too. Fred, here, one last email here, Smokin' Jim. Fred from Cannonsburg. He said, Ralph, he says, I love your show. You and Smokin' Jim are the men. He says, I will be tuning in on YouTube to Smokin' Jim and the Pittsburgh Sports Line. That's from Fred in Cannonsburg, Smokin' Jim. There you go on the emails. Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com if you have anything you want to comment about. And please don't forget, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., tune into the Sports Nuts Network. They have 3 shows, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. And real quick here, I got a couple announcements to make here. All right, Smokin' Jim, next week we're going to break down. We're going to be back here for Wrestle Talk next week as soon as we dissect this Mike Tomlin stepping down. That's why tonight we had an extended version of Sports Corner, postponed Wrestle Talk next week. We got a lot to talk about. Drew McIntyre, new champion. We also got to talk about the Royal Rumble coming up. Who's going to be in it? Who's going to be out of it? Who's going to be the winner? We're going to talk about that as well. New women's tag team champions in Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Just a lot of stuff to talk about in pro wrestling, but we had to do this today because of Mike Tomlin stepping down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Smokin' Jim, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, man. Great show, man. Great information, and it was pretty much off the cuff because we got this information right before our show.
Yes,
So great job, Ralph.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Until next Tuesday, have yourself a great one, and please, by all means, be safe. Thank you.